My brother has Crohn's disease. He had a tough spell in his mid-20s. And I'm sure laying in that hospital bed, he said, what am I doing with my life? And he decided he wanted to be happier. And he decided that the marketing company we were building was successful, but it wasn't making him happy. So he decided and said to me he wants to leave and start a sports agency, wants to be an NFL agent. And of course, you know, I'm the older brother by 11 years. So I'm like, I want to support him blindly. I was like, shit, now I got to do this whole agency thing by myself. And of course my brain goes to where I'm at, like, well, let's become the biggest. And he's like, whoa, 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 like, I'm doing this for lifestyle a little bit more. I'm like, I don't care, you want me involved, we're going, you know? And I was like, but we found our balance. Nonetheless, the CAA-WME thing's a great call out. I love competing. And when you love competing and you love the game, you may hate to lose, but you have to respect the outcome. So I think a lot of entrepreneurs hate on fellow entrepreneurs, and it drives me crazy. I understand it, but for me, the answer to your question, this is for everyone listening, no matter what you do. Just because Ice Spice and Cardi B and Nicki Minaj are successful female rappers has zero to do with your ability to become a successful or Sexy Red. Sexy Red and Ice Spice did not get stopped by Cardi B and Nicki Minaj. No one on earth, no organization, no person is actually stopping you from your thing. The world is abundant. There was no part of me that was like, oh my God, it's impossible. Of course I knew it would take us 10 years to build a reputation to allow us to get to the #1 pick. And because CAA would go into the living room and say, we've repped the last 50, you know, and we would be like, hey, we know marketing. Like I knew that was, you know, a knife to a gunfight at first. But here we are 8, 9, 10 years later, and we're starting to get very different outcomes and athletes. And so it's just putting in the work. It's not saying no, right? To your point, a lot of this talk has been about mindset. If you've said no about anything, then that means it's already over. You're actually right, it's over. If you say maybe, it becomes a whole different life. And so CAA-WME didn't scare me, but I respect the piss out of them and Wasserman and all the other great agencies, but I'm gonna try to build the biggest. People sometimes hear me, like I did it earlier, I'll inevitably get a DM, be like, hey, heard you in Club 30, Henrik's class, you're trash. Really, this will happen. They'll say, you think you're gonna build fucking, who do you think you are? You think you're Jim Henson and Walt Disney? And I will reply. I will reply and say, no, I don't think I'm them, but I'm inspiring and I'm aiming for it. And I may not get there, but I don't even understand why I wouldn't try to. And I don't think I'm delusional. I think I'm capable. I've won in marketing. I've won in sports. I've won in wine. Like, I'm a winner and I want to go for it. I understand it's outlandish. I would even say out loud, it's unlikely to build an intellectual property that's as Disney, forget about it. Like it's gonna take everything I got and a hell of a lot of things bouncing in the right way, the puck bouncing the right way for me to get to that. But why wouldn't I try?
And so when you do start something new like that, how important is it to know where you're trying to go? Like the plan itself?
I think if you go super macro, at 11 years old, I decided I wanted to buy the New York Jets. I believe there's a direct correlation to the amount of success I've had based on that.
Is that happening?
I think it is. You know, I really have this weird feeling that in 20 years, I'm gonna pull it off. Like, look, the Johnson family may never wanna sell it. That's not in my control. What's in my control is, will I have the capacity to create that level of insane wealth? Because I don't do it for the money, it does scare me that I can't get there. I don't operate to maximize money, I operate to maximize joy. And so I don't think even though I've accumulated a lot of money, I'm very aware that I could have accumulated more. I've done a lot of high risk, high reward investing. If I just did real estate in the stock market, I would have more money. I'm aware of that. But if I want to get to my goals my way. You know, I'm about the process. You know, like, of course I want to hoist the Stanley Cup, but I can only control how I show up every day in front of the net. That's what you did. And much like being on a team, even though I'm the entrepreneur and even though it's all on me, I don't control the world. I don't control when inflation comes in. I don't control when, China does this. I don't control when there's an innovation that's invented like AI that takes away an advantage that I built for 15 years. I control my reaction to it. I can cry about it, or I can say, fuck, okay, let's put on the fucking helmet and go to work. So that's how I think about it.
Listen, we're running out of time, but before I let you go, I want to leave you with this. Other than the Jets winning the Super Bowl,
yes,
what else are you dreaming about right now?
Man, I love consistency. And so the Jets is the fun thing. And the real thing is, I dream every day for the 10 to 15 people that are closest to me to be okay. And genuinely, when you asked me earlier, are you seeing it the same way as you did 10 years ago, 20 years ago? That's all I've done, always. Please let the people I love be healthy and happy to the best of God's choices. And 2, put on my helmet and go to work. I don't know anything else. I'm so simple, guys. I'm fucking simple. It's so basic for me. I just see it so clearly. And I desperately want that for everyone else. And that's why I choose to do things like this for an hour. I got a lot of things to do. I do this because I know that this is, first, I admire the shit out of you and I was pumped to get to know you. 2, I know there's a lot of people listening that don't know me. This is enough out of my circle. And maybe you've seen me at the Garden or this and that, or maybe you've seen one thing about me. And I'm hoping that it inspires someone to be to think, my whole life is based on humans saying things that made me think differently. I think about that kind of stuff. And so that's the stuff that I think we need more perspective. And I'm hopeful to inspire someone. Do you know that there's 735 million people that don't have access to water? Clean water. 735 million. 10% of the earth can't get to clean water within a day, right? We get so caught up in our real lives. I mean, you are so fortunate. As long as everyone is healthy, everything that you worked hard for has created a very special life. And it's awesome. And you were born at the right time. We could have all been born in 1643. We could have been born in 1801, right? You could have been, going back to what I said earlier, we're not far removed from our great grandparents. Think about this, if you're born in Europe in 1901, right? You have World War I, you have World War II, you have a genocide of Nazi Germany, and you're 45 years old and you've lived through all that. You Black Plague, the Great Depression, right. We're just incredibly fortunate, most of us. And so please everyone, because inevitably something bad will happen. Unfortunately for all of us, most people live a life, unless you're the unfortunate one who dies early, which is terrible, but most of us will go through very hard heartache of losing the closest people to us, definitely who are older than us. Losing parents is fucking horrible if you love them. And everyone loves their parents even when it's fucked up, you know what I mean? So I think on the days that are good, really try to start enjoying them, because if you're complaining about your boss is a dick, or the Rangers lost to the Blue Jackets, you gotta put it in perspective. We need better perspective.